Hello walkers, and welcome to Old Chico, Montana. My name is Henry. I will be your proxy walker, your virtual travel guide today. This will be a little bit of a combo of not really a city walk, but a little town, kind of a neat little mining town, and a nature walk. So we're on Old Chico Road, not far from Chico Hot Springs Resort, which you would, if we kept going down this way about a mile, we would get to. I'm going to take you through this old town. It was sort of founded in the 1860s, I believe. They had a gold strike in 1863. Was called Yellowstone City for a while. But I'll put a Wikipedia page in the comment section of the YouTube channel. So you can learn more about it there. But there's still a little bit of a population here, about 10 or 15 people, I think. I think it's actually a little bit more, just because I know a couple people out here. They've got these great old cabins. There are a couple you can rent, vacation rental properties. And then there's some people that live here full-time, and then there is actually one or two people that have a mining claim here, and there's a big fight recently about I think it was a Canadian company that wanted to come in and build a gold mine here. We're not very far at all from Yellowstone National Park. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about some of these houses real quick. I love these old cabins, these old wood fences, and it's so quiet here. I love it, except for a big industrial truck that went by. I think they're doing some construction somewhere. Excuse me. So we're going to go up Chico Gulch, Old Chico, or Emigrant Gulch, sorry, through Old Chico, and we'll see a few of these cabins. This particular one has been rehabbed or rebuilt. But I like that old, what do you call that? I guess it's just log, but the logs are squared off. It's about 48 degrees here at this altitude. Let me look that up for you. You got some deer fencing over here. That's this tall fencing to keep the deer out, and the elk, and the bears. I do have bear spray, but I'm not really too worried about it today, but it's good to have. I was going to look up the altitude while I still have a little bit of signal here. We are about 2 or 3 miles from Sage Lodge, maybe that, probably less, which I did a walk through earlier in the year. Neat lodge, neat property that they created there. Pretty high-end place. We were at 5,400 feet, 47 degrees, which has got to be 10 or 15 degrees Celsius. Let me see if I can look that up. We have a typical spring day here in Montana. Kind of can't make up its mind whether it wants to be cloudy or sunny or snowy or rainy. So we're about 7 degrees, I guess, 45 degrees Fahrenheit. Lots of neat old cars and equipment in here. We come up here in the winter sometimes and go skiing. We used to bring our kids up here because we could tow them in a sled and let them sled down the road a little bit. It's probably be good for biking. I'm not exactly sure how far up the road goes. It's pretty far. An old agricultural implement there. Definitely a more conservative area, unless it's just all one property here. You see Vote Republican, there was a little sticker earlier that said Trump 12 more years. So neat old, this is a real old cabin. Obviously no longer occupied. It's really pretty comfortable out right now. I've got a rain jacket on just in case it gets rainy. I was thinking about walking again in Livingston, but I did a live stream, my first live stream. I was so excited. It was so much more fun than I even expected for me, just to be able to interact with everybody. I love getting the comments. I love being able to chat with people and answer questions and talk about Livingston. So I'm going to do more of those, but I will try to, that was more of a last minute thing, so I'm going to try and give you guys more of a heads up about that sort of thing. You can see where we are in spring here. There's kind of a mix in terms of the trees and the foliage greening up. It's a sweet looking dog. You know, we've got the grass greening up and we've got some of the trees starting to leaf out. But this is Lindsay Wells Photography over here. And check them out. Yellowstone is more valuable than gold. That's sort of the campaign to stop the mining that was done here, or wanted to be done here. They actually even had a law that they passed. Hi there. To prevent the mining in here. So this is, you can see people live here, and they've got a sign that says all dogs must be leashed, free-range chickens ahead. They do get a lot of walkers in here. It's a very nice road to walk. But you do want to be respectful of the people that live here, so don't park in a way that blocks the road or blocks driveways if you end up coming up here, which I would recommend. It's great. You can see, I saw this a little bit in, or something similar in Bodie, California, where they used license plates to basically, I forget what you call that, where you're shingling the walls. Siding, that's what I'm thinking of. Well, you can see this fruit tree is starting to have some flowers. Really pretty. We have a plum tree that is flowering in our backyard, and it just smells wonderful. The smell here, you can probably hear the creek, which is, this is a dry channel right here, but then a little bit lower is the creek. We'll get a better view of it soon. But you can smell there's a distinct smell to these willows and creek bottom. And it's like a sweet nature smell. It's really, really nice. So you can almost see the creek down in there. Pardon me. The last recorded video I did was Seuss Creek. Check that out. I did a 60 frames a second. I'm using a GoPro 8. And I have to say, I'm not a fan, at least on this camera, because it introduces a lot of noise into the image. And I know I like a cleaner image, so I'm probably, unless I get a lot of comments, which I welcome, requesting it, at least on the GoPro, I'll probably stay away from the 60 frames a second. It does have a nice crisp look, very different than 24 frames. Again, it's a personal choice. I don't really care for it, but I know some people do. So if I am in the minority, I'm more than willing to consider altering my style, my filming style. I had someone comment several months ago about sharing the smells, what it's like. Oh cool, Kellum Custom Works, handmade art and leather goods. I want to look that up later. Might be really cool. I know I mentioned if you find yourself up here, I know at least one viewer and his wife are going to be driving out to Montana soon. Another viewer, they're actually moving out here. I think their son has moved out here. And so maybe they will come up here, check out Emigrant Gulch, and certainly drive it very easily if you're not into walking. So many people. I love the view up this valley. You can see we're in sunlight right now, but just less than a mile away, we've got the snowy mountains, all hidden in the clouds. Looks like Emigrant Creek cabin may be for rent as well. 406-333-4396 if you want to call on that. Amazing views from here. But we're gonna keep going up. We'll see how far we go up and whether I want to film on the way back or not. You've got a lot of fir trees in here as well. I think these are Douglas fir. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I do welcome well-intentioned corrections and any additional information that I might leave out or miss. Just love getting these things as good as they can. I know that there are channels that put a lot of additional information in the video, in the subtitles or in the closed captions. I would be interested in doing that. It does take a lot of work. I mean, I don't want to overstate it. It's not building a fence or a house. But it does take, an hour or two probably to put all that, or more, to put all that into a 45 minute to an hour long video. And I've got other occupations trying and pay my bills. I also did start a Patreon account. I was urged to do so by another walker, just to keep it, even if it's just simple. So I just have one tier on there. If anybody feels like pitching in, that's much appreciated. Certainly not required here on YouTube. Should be, I think I'm linking to that in the descriptions below. Okay, you got some of these buds coming out on the trees. That'll focus. So the road is public, but there is private property for a considerable amount of time before it gets into the Forest Service. I've actually done for the anti-mine campaign, well, not for the anti-mine, but for a local nonprofit. I went up this road and it goes all the way up the hill, not all the way, but quite a ways up the hill to this wonderful house. It's a simple house, but it's really well done and has amazing views out of the valley. Anyway, it's just a personal tidbit, I guess. In Sioux Creek, I heard a grouse drumming, and the creek is loud enough now that I don't think I would hear it. I'm gonna have to blow on this camera. Sorry. Here, but this is kind of grousey country, grousey looking environment. A lot of rocks. You can see how steep these mountainsides are. It's really nice in the fall as well. There are a couple of pullouts where you can park along the road we're about to get to. In that Seuss Creek video, the first 8 minutes I had forgotten to turn back on the image stabilization in the camera because I was doing a software test with something else, and 8 minutes in I needed to stop. I remembered I had to turn that back on, and wow, it is shocking how well it stabilizes this image. I've got it on a vertical axis stabilizer, which does a great job, but the software in the camera really just, it's like magic to me. I've said this before. Love these. I guess they're aspen, old aspen trees, the white bark. Used to bring our, I think I said, our kids and our dogs up here too. Great place to walk dogs. Here's one of the places you can sort of pull out, but then over there is private. I'm sure someone will ask about the fishing in this stream. I really don't think it's big enough to fish. At least not no, it's just not. Maybe with a Tenkara rod. Oh, you see that? This is, there's a marmot over there. I'm gonna cross over that, even though this is private property, just to see if I can get close enough to see it. Let you guys see it. Right through the hole there in those rocks. So you can crawl back down there. There's this little hole. Fun. Fun. All right. I'm sure the landowner would forgive me for sharing their marmot with you. a little bit better view of the mountains coming up. I've got a couple ideas for walks down in Yellowstone. It's really still pretty early to go down there. I did a few last year, and there was a lot of fire smoke at the time, and of course, the pandemic. So as people get vaccinated, and it becomes, if enough people get vaccinated, it becomes safe to open up. I'm gonna go down and do a few more walks down there. Got some good ideas. See a cabin down there. I think that's a rental cabin. Cute little area. You can see some massive puddles here. I think you'd be okay with a, for the most part, a crossover. You don't really need a high clearance vehicle. Get up here in a SUV for sure. You definitely want to take it slow though. Got a bunch of talus slopes along this road due to the steepness of these hillsides. I don't recall seeing quite so many no trespassing signs in the past. Love these mossy rocks too, you can see. They've been here for a while. Created little micro ecosystems. Here's a spot you can pull out and park if you want to do some walking. Looks like there might be a log down across the road up there too. We'll check it out. Another 100 feet up or so, we'll hit snow line from the recent precipitation. A tree down there, look at that guy. Oh, you can smell the sweetness of the relatively freshly cut wood. It smells nice. Not nice for the tree, but so this is a spot that might test your lower clearance vehicle for sure. But I would come up here in my CRV for sure. No problem. Maybe not a Miata, but this looks like a nice little cabin too. Still got some Christmas wreaths on the side there. So on Thursday, weather permitting, which is looking good, my family and some others are going to float the Smith River, which is the only permitted river in Montana, and it's a lottery system, so we kind of lucked out. Got a permit, and we're going to float that for 4 days. So I will be away from commenting and responding to commenting, so don't worry, I'll be back. And I don't think I'm going to be filming any walks. I don't think there's really any walks to film, but I guess we could hike in the public parts. But I might film from part of the floating, which you guys might enjoy. Also, we're gonna film sort of a trip video for either Traveling Mel, one of our other channels, or for a new channel we're gonna start up called the Family Adventure Project with another family, and maybe some, you know, start a blog and that sort of thing there. We'll see if we can make that happen. It would be easy for me to criticize all these private property signs, except for the fact that there are a lot of new people moving in here. It's getting quote-unquote crowded compared to what we're used to, and I can understand and empathize with the desire to make sure people who are new here might not know the etiquette or the boundary lines. Make sure everybody's fully informed. I'd be interested to see or hear from you guys in the comments section how things are going for you. I know last year was rough. The winter was certainly rough. Are things opening up where you are? Are you able to get out and walk in person? I know that my rate of growth has declined precipitously, and I'm just, hopefully that's because people are getting out of their homes and walking and getting exercise and socializing safely. But I'm curious. So I think in my Sioux Creek walk I was calling it a perambulation pontification. I think I did a little bit of that with the no trespassing signs. So I will continue on that a little bit, riff on it. You know, we have these public lands. They're a huge asset and value, and they are the right of every American citizen to enjoy them, but we have to enjoy them responsibly, and we have to respect private property rights to the extent that they don't impose on communal rights. So don't trespass on people's property out here or anywhere unless you have permission, and don't litter. Don't tear up the landscape, please, and be respectful of others enjoying the land, and whether that's someone hiking, or, you know, these lands are open to motorized recreation. So I don't particularly care to hear motocross dirt bikes and four-wheelers and off-road vehicles, but it's their land too, and they certainly have a right to enjoy that where it's allowed by the regulations. So that's going to be the end of that pontification. But I do try to add a little bit of extra good to these videos, make them more than just a walk in the woods. You can see up there an orange, possibly an orange sign. That is the National Forest boundary. I am breathing a little heavily, but mainly because I'm talking while I climb these little hills. It's not a vigorous walk by any means. You can see I wouldn't call it the snow line really, I guess, but certainly up where it snowed earlier. You can see it occasionally falling from the trees. And here you can see it's in the shadows. The snow has not melted yet. It stays nice and cool down there, down by the creek, or what many old school Montanans might call a crick. This reminds me a little bit of the Mill Creek. It was the West Fork of the Mill Creek that I did this winter. It was so pleasant. Here's something interesting, a bearing tree, sorry. They put this up for I'm drawing a blank. Well, for marking boundaries. It's kind of opening up in here. There must be a drainage coming in from the left, which is to the north. By the way, we're headed east-ish. East-ish. This is where the driving will get a little dicier with the lower clearance vehicle. So this road keeps going. I think at, we're like 35 minutes, we are going to turn around and head back and enjoy the valley view occasionally as the change of perspective as we head back down to Old Chico. I've had the worst luck or negligence on my part with my audio recorder. It's a Zoom H1N. It's a great handy little thing. The only problem that I've had with it is that the record button is so easy to push accidentally if you stick it in your pocket or other places like your backpack or whatever. And so I end up pushing pause on the recording midway through. That happened at Seuss Creek, and luckily it wasn't windy, so I could use the audio from the camera, the GoPro, and it turned out pretty well. But it's kind of frustrating that it's happened so often, and it's one more little challenge, I guess. Personal challenge. I mean, it's totally my fault, but maybe a little bit of a design issue. So if you're from Zoom, you make great stuff. There's that one little thing that I would love to have remedied, even if it's just a little gate over the top or something to help me help myself. And if you are familiar with these and you know of a way that I could totally do that, maybe a setting in the menu so that it doesn't just stop, or if the audio stops when I hit pause, that'd be awesome. I would love to find that out, so hit me up in the comments. Checking the lens there. Looks like a little bit of fogginess to it, maybe. Can't really tell through the monitor. The little screen on the back. I'm going to just check it real quick because I think there is a spot. Oh my gosh, guys, so sorry about that. It's been there the whole time. Hopefully it hasn't detracted too much. That's sort of one of my issues. I mentioned the recorder, and then there's that little spot. I left the battery gate to the GoPro at home. I'm not exactly a detailed oriented person, methodical person when it comes to these things. but I try not to get too worked up about it. I need to have a checklist. When I was little, 5, 6, 7, we lived on a ranch outside of Ovando, Montana. 10 miles down a road, a little bit better than this, but still with a ton of puddles. And every spring I used to love when we'd drive along and stick my head out as we splashed through the puddles. A fond memory. And go catch frogs with my sister too. That was fun. Here's the National Forest boundary signs again. That's what they look like. It's easy on these trails to get lost in my own thoughts, moments of reverie, I suppose. I was just thinking about hiking the Beaver Pond loop down in Yellowstone. It'll probably be a two-parter when I get to it, maybe in June. I kind of wish it wasn't quite so overcast. We'd get a good view of the Gallatin Range if it were clearer. But that's spring in Montana, or mud season. And it lasts about 3 months, if we're lucky. And then a brief summer. That sawn wood smells so lovely. It's like a fresh Christmas tree. Pardon the wind noise if that's what we're getting. Walking straight into the wind. I think the air warms up down in the valley and it kind of climbs back up these little narrow draws. I don't know if you heard that. It was a squirrel in the tree right next to me. Gave me a bit of a startle. You can kind of see the far side of the valley down there. The mountains are still covered in clouds, the tops of them anyway. Still a pretty nice view. Here's the bridge where our little marmot friend lives. I can see him out there. I'm not going to take you over again. I just feel a little hypocritical having gone over there and pontificated about property rights. But, probably too wide to see him. He's out there. Oh, there's two of them. We'll see. I'll give you a better view without crossing. Just kind of right. I remember I'll blow up the video and try and do an optical or a digital zoom. Sorry. Cute little guys. I think they're probably Marmota flaviventris, yellow-bellied marmots. There's a robin proclaiming its territory. I think one of the most enjoyable classes I've taken, well, there's a lot of them, but I took a birding class between my undergrad and my grad program, and it was such a joy to just walk around and identify birds and have someone that knew what they were to help. I've mentioned this before as well, but I started this channel in 2017, but was very hit and miss with posting videos. And I think back, we spent a year traveling around Europe. I think back to all the wonderful walks I did but didn't film, and I have some regret about that. They say you don't regret the things at the end of the life. You don't really regret the things you did do nearly as much as the things you didn't do. Oh, what a beautiful spring day, everybody. I hope your springs are going well. Or I guess if you're from the southern hemisphere, it's your fall. So sorry for my northern centric statement there. Oh, look at this creek. We're gonna go over and check out this creek. I'm not gonna cross the boundary though. Don't worry. I'm gonna stay on this side. I love it. Kind of reminds me of Scotland with that kind of rocky creek with the mossy bank. Beautiful. Love it. And here on this side, on the road, the world is mud luscious. We've got those E.E. Cummings. We'll get another view of the other side of the valley. If you have any questions about this part of Montana or this road or anything else, hit me up in the comments. I do love getting your comments. I know I try to say that every time because it's true, I do. And I mentioned on that live stream, I was surprised at how much fun I had interacting with you guys. On my next live stream, I'll try and give you a heads up. Right now I'm thinking either possibly Tuesday or Wednesday. So I will try to give you at least 12 hours notice. Creek bottom again. Coming back into the little residential part of the town. I don't know if I call it a town. Neighborhood? Settlement. Let's go with settlement. Oh, the sunlight is very nice, warming everything up. It's quite pleasant. I wish I could convey the smell of this creek. It's beautiful. It's super sweet smelling. And just really, really pleasant. Not like a flower so much as just new growth. A little sluice canal in there. Interesting. Kind of wonder what that's a diversion dam of some sort. Here we go, everything's opening back up as we reach the bottom of the gulch. big, looks like an old army dozer. I love the vibrance of this, I guess it's either a willow or a cottonwood, these new leaves. And maybe they're the flowers. Little, they're not like a traditional flower, but, you know. Oh, and the bark of the new shoots off of the tree are super yellow as well. So I'll give you a close-up look here. I think those are flowers, don't you? Let me know what you think in the comments. Someone who knows more about this than I do. Chickadee flying by. There's one in that bush. Guessing a mountain chickadee. Chickadee dee dee. And now we're getting into sort of the sagebrush country as the get away from the water. The land I don't think really holds water well, and you get this sagebrush, which is in the Artemisia family. Artemisia, I think tridentata, although this might be a different kind. Probably can't see that, but you break it off a little bit and you it's really aromatic, and it just smells as good as those cottonwoods. And then out on the flats in the eastern Montana, parts around here, ooh, look at this. After a rain, you'll smell that smell, and that just smells like, I don't know, Montana and nature and wonderfulness. I was reading the Wikipedia entry for Old Chico, and it said it had a boarding house and a couple other things, but it never had a saloon, which for a gold mining establishment is pretty unusual, I would guess. Now looks like someone's settling in here for the day. Maybe it's a rental or a vacation cabin off to the left. Hear some voices. See some bicycles. I'm always curious where people come from. Try not to intrude on their vacation. California. Well, here we are back at Old Chico Road. Off to the right goes to Chico Hot Springs Resort and the main, well, East River Road. Off to the left goes back out to 89 eventually, I think. And then you can branch off and go to Chico Cemetery and take the back road into Sage Lodge. I want to thank you all for joining me today on this walk here in Old Chico in Montana, Emigrant Gulch. I hope you've enjoyed it. I enjoy taking you on these walks. Tell your friends, please, if you get a chance. That would help me out a lot. I'm not sure why our growth has slowed down. It was really fast. Maybe that was it. Maybe it was just so fast that it wasn't sustainable. But I would love to find new viewers and new commenters. And I'd love to get your comments because I love getting them and I love reading them. YouTube's still being weird. Sometimes things just don't come through, so try again. Links don't work, but you can find us on Facebook and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Just search for City Walks on those things and you'll find us eventually. And thanks so much. You guys have a great week ahead. See you again soon, and until then, keep on stepping.